Some of you will win. Others will lose. And a lot of you just aren't even playing. Let's pick every game in the Big 12. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this your first listen every single day. Let's go through all of the games in the Big 12 this weekend and pick the winners and the losers. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. Again, I think teams like BYU, Colorado, even Kansas State will get wins against BYE this week. Like half of you aren't even playing. The rest of you have some pretty big games, but there's not a single top 25 matchup in the Big 12 this weekend, and only one team ranked in this conference is playing in a football game. We'll talk about that as well. Houston, TCU. TCU moves to 4-2 and 2-1 in Big 12 play. I mean, you're playing Houston. You're going to walk into a win. Josh Hoover's been very good at football too. For the Horned Frogs, they have not been able to effectively establish the run consistently. I know that was kind of like verbiage and jargon there, but until TCU has a firm run game, they cannot be Big 12 contenders. But at 2-1, you go, TCU's not at the bottom of the Big 12. They're not in the bottom half of the Big 12. 2-1's pretty good. What if the Horned Frogs can actually do that football? The SMU loss is behind you. You beat Kansas. You feel a little bit better. The UCF loss is behind you. And now playing Houston, you get a win. Do you cover 17 points? I still don't think so because the analytics say you won't. Otherwise, TCU winning this game is going to be not a cakewalk. Houston's defense is good, but a 28-14 win. Cool. You did it. 31-14 win. You're right at a push there for the Horned Frogs. They beat Houston. West Virginia, Oklahoma State. This is the 4 p.m. game on the weekend. And look, it is a must win for Oklahoma State. If you drop to 0-3 in Big 12 play, we have serious problems for Mike Gundy's squad this year. You have not been able to run the football with Ollie Gordon, one of the best running backs in the country. You have not been able to throw the football with Alan Bowman, a pretty not good quarterback. And if you look analytically, you still should win this football game. 32-28 is the projected score from College Football Insiders. Oklahoma State is favored by 3 against West Virginia. But the Mountaineers at 2-2 have at least looked a little improved in their last, they're coming off a bye week, and then they beat Kansas 32-28, and they could have lost it, but they closed it out with a late comeback. And speaking of comebacks, Pitt came back against West Virginia, and it wasn't very pretty. Mike Gundy's not coaching for his job. Neil Brown might be. And honestly, with the way Oklahoma State's played, they haven't figured it out recently. West Virginia did enough to beat Kansas. Oklahoma State has not. And we already saw the Cowboys lose at home under the tutelage of Alan Bowman against Utah. And that same Utah team, I know transitive property doesn't really work in college football. They lost to Arizona. I'm going to go with West Virginia. I'm going to pick against the analytics. And I think West Virginia gets the win here. They're a more desperate football team when it comes to their head coach being fired. But for Oklahoma State, 3-3, 0-3 in Big 12 is stunning. I just don't have a leg to stand on when Alan Bowman is not very good and when Ollie Gordon can't get off the ground or can't get the ground going, for lack of a better. I'm going to go West Virginia this week. They moved to 3-2. Oklahoma State falls to 3-3. And both of those teams are still just, West Virginia will be 2-0 in Big 12 play, but you're still going, disappointing. No matter who wins this game, you both have disappointed so far. Baylor, Iowa State. Analytics love Iowa State. I love Iowa State. They're playing at home. This game is at Jack Tri Stadium at 7:30, so the night game's going to be packed. They're wearing the white uniforms. They got like the alt logo on the helmet too. I'm not just leaning Iowa State. I am wholeheartedly all my eggs in the basket of Iowa State, even them covering 12. If you ask College Football Insiders, they would tell you that Iowa State's going to cover this game easily. It was one of my locks of the week. And that have them winning by 18. And one of the biggest differences, the Iowa State defense against a pretty porous Baylor offense. The Iowa State defense is 4th in the country, EPA dropback. Baylor is 60th on offense, EPA dropback. Iowa State 37 against the rush, Baylor 96 running the football. The Baylor defense is not bad. They're not bad, but the Iowa State offense is still the most balanced in the Big 12. They're going to beat Baylor. The analytics have it at 35-17. I sit right around there. Yeah, I think Baylor might put up 21, maybe Iowa State 34-21. Iowa State wins by 13. They cover the 12-point spread. I think that is being conservative based on all the elements going against Baylor. However, if you know anything about Matt Campbell, this would be the game he loses. It's always that Baylor game where you're like, oh, yeah, we're playing Baylor this week. We're going to stay undefeated, and then you don't. And Iowa State fans are like, huh? And then you finish 6-6. You're going, huh? Do I think that will happen this year? No. Have we seen it happen in the past? Yes. So is it on my radar? Also, yes. Good luck. Please don't lose, Iowa State. I'm trusting all of the teams that are good in the Big 12 to win the rest of the way and boost our conference. UCF, Florida, I'm leaning toward the Knights here. Again, their offense grades really, really well. EPA rush, EPA drop back, and for that, I'm gonna side with them. They are 5th in the country on 3rd and 4th down offensively. While their defense has not been very good on late downs, the Florida offense is really, really not good. Florida offense ranks 100th in the country on 3rd and 4th down. So I'm going to side with the UCF Knights. I don't think that's crazy. KJ Jefferson needs to be able to do the forward pass thing, and UCF has to establish the ground game here. But I think they're going to be able to do that against Florida. I'm definitely like Florida's rush defense, 99th in America. Their EPA drop back defense, 113th. Analytics, back UCF. I back UCF this week. Kansas at Arizona State. One of my locks of the week, Arizona State -2.5. I cannot trust Kansas at this point. There's nothing. Nothing you've done makes me go, oh, could Kansas be sneaky this week? No, I'm done. I've stopped believing in the Jayhawks because they're 1-4. Is the talent there? I would have said yes. From Grimm to Highshaw to Neal, you should be better than this. To Jalen Daniels, who we thought was going to be really good. And you're just not. Arizona State wins this. Cam Scatterbo, Sam Levitt. Analytically, they win it by almost 10 points. And in our hearts and our minds, when teams are good, like Arizona State moves to 4-1 overall, 1-1 in Big 12 play, they become a team that on the national radar, you're going, they're probably a bowl team. They're surprising a lot of people. That my 3-9 projection was absolutely wrong for Arizona State. They win it. They're 4-1. Texas Tech at Arizona. I'm going to blow your minds. I'm going to do it. I'm going with the Red Raiders here. I'm going with the classic old school Big 12 team, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and the analytics are too. They have Texas Tech winning this game by 2, though Arizona is a 6-point favorite currently. They're just moved 6.5. Tech is 2-0 in Big 12 play. Arizona's 1-0 in Big 12 play. They just got the most impressive win of any team in the conference. But I don't think that I really don't know that winning translates. Again, I said it earlier, transitive property. Like, oh, well, if Arizona beat Utah, that must mean that Arizona is better than Texas Tech because Texas Tech lost to and you start to piece together like, oh, my team's better than yours because you lost to them and we lost to. You really can't do that in the Big 12 conference. We are full of parity. Whoever you think is going to win, you don't know. You just don't know here. Like, I know Georgia's going to win every week. That's just what's going to happen. I know that. I know that Ohio State's just going to win every week. There's not that team in the Big 12 conference, and it makes it so entertaining. And this week, I can't definitively tell you Arizona's going to win. The projected score based on analytics is 30-28, Texas Tech winning. While the Tech defense has not been very good, if this game becomes a shootout, which I believe it will, Texas Tech wins. I think they find a way. They've been able to close out games recently. They've found a way to win, to go do the winning thing, and it translates here in Tucson. 11 p.m. start Eastern time is crazy, by the way. But I trust Texas Tech. I trust Texas Tech, whose offense has been efficient. 15th EPA rush, 35th EPA dropback. Arizona's defense, 49th and 52nd, respectively. Tech very good on 3rd and 4th down offensively. Arizona bad there defensively. Granted, same goes the other way. Tech's defense, not very good, especially on 3rd and 4th down. Arizona's offense is pretty darn good there. Again, in a shootout, I just lean Texas Tech here. Arizona coming off of a massive win. Tech seems to be more level-headed now. Baron Morton's playing very well. Taj Brooks is the best running back maybe in the conference at this point. I'm going Texas Tech. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's where I go to make these bets. When it's like, hey, I'm picking against the spread, picking straight up. I love Iowa State this week. I'm going to go to FanDuel and bet on Iowa State. NFL fans, too, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, live, play-by-play, as well as much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll also get started with $200 in bonus bets Guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. You go to FanDuel.com and you tell FanDuel that I want to bet $5 on Iowa State beating Baylor by 12, and you get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. A huge deal going on right now at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com. It is America's #1 sportsbook. Go there today. Will my picks be right this week? I don't know. It's the Big 12, man. How great would it be to host Locked On SEC where you could go, Alabama's going to beat Vanderbilt this week. Click. Next. Georgia's going to beat Mississippi State this week. Click. Next. Texas is going to beat Texas A&M this week or Arkansas this week. Like, come on, man. But me, I'm over here in the trenches with every single one of these games. Like, oh, well, both these teams are even. Oh, well, this is a 1-score spread. What do I do? You know, there are 2 double-digit spreads. One of them, Iowa State and Baylor. And Matt Campbell said that Baylor's the best team he's played. That's the nature of our conference. If you don't love it, I can't help you. This has been and always will be. Come back on Sunday for a reaction podcast to see if I was right. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.